Hey folks, it's Matt here with Basemap again, and today we're going to cover the Idaho draw, and in honor of Idaho's lack of blaze orange laws, I wore a blaze orange hat. Alright, the first thing that you need to know in Idaho are deadlines for their draw. There's a spring black bear draw that happens February 15th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then there's a moose, sheep, and goat hunt that happens on April 30th, and that deadline is at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And the last draw of the year is the deer, elk, and pronghorn draw, and that's June 5th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Okay, as we dive into the regulations, one of the things you're going to notice is that there's a difference between general hunts and controlled hunts. Your controlled hunts are going to be your limited draw hunts, and those are in place for most of the big game species, with the exception of deer and elk, which do offer some general hunts. And then most of your predator hunts also offer general licenses, which can be purchased over the counter. So your mountain lion, gray wolf, and black bear, you could all purchase over the counter licenses for. Those controlled hunts are generally going to be hunts that have, a little bit better, let's say, weapon type or better chance of harvest or a better class of animal that you could hunt. So, you may choose to go after a controlled hunt, and we're going to cover all the things that you need to know when you get into it. One of the things that you need to understand about the controlled hunt is that if you do apply for a controlled hunt species where there's also a general season, like your deer, elk, or black bear, applying for a controlled hunt and drawing a controlled hunt will make you ineligible to purchase one of those general licenses. So keep that in mind. You can't have both. It's one or the other. All right. The first thing you need to understand about controlled hunts is that the hunt number that you see in the regulations can change from year to year. So Idaho does a really good job of posting data online, but know that as you go through and look at hunt number 1001 this year, that hunt may not actually be the same hunt, may not be the same geography or the same species or weapon type that it was the year previously. The next thing you need to know is that there are a couple different classes of controlled hunts. There's extra hunts that you will see for, let's say, deer and elk. Those are actually extra hunts in the sense that you can submit one application for, let's say, some bull elk hunts, and then you could submit a whole separate application specifically for the extra hunts, which tend to be, cow or doe hunts. So those are extra, and you don't have to put an extra hunt on the same application as your general application. The next thing to know is there are some unlimited quota controlled hunts. Now, it's unlimited in the sense that IDFG has chosen to offer as many licenses as there are applications. However, that does not mean that these are like general tags. You can only apply for these unlimited control hunts during the application period. You have to select them as your first choice. If you do, you will be issued a tag. But those hunts are not available afterwards in, let's say, as a leftover license or a secondary draw or anything like that. So you get one shot at them, and you will get it if you apply, but just know that that's your only opportunity. The next thing is if you apply as a group, know that if you are drawn as a group, but there isn't enough quota to give everybody in your group a license, then you will not draw that tag, even though you were selected. The last thing is if you're applying for moose, sheep, or goat, here's what you need to know. You only get to submit one application for one of those species. So you can either submit for moose or sheep or goat. You applying for those makes you ineligible to apply for any of the other controlled hunt species. So that's it. You can only apply to one of those, they're not once in a lifetime hunts, but one of those species. And then you can't apply to anything else that year. You could still purchase a general license, let's say for deer or elk, but you can submit any other controlled hunt applications. Okay, let's talk about Idaho's draw system. Idaho is one of the few states where every applicant has the same odds of drawing. So there are no points of any sort, no weighting that occurs, but rather if there are, let's say 30 licenses available for a hunt and there's 100 applications, everybody has the same 30% chance of drawing. So it's just everybody gets assigned a random number, and we basically assign licenses from lowest random number to highest until we run out of quota. So that is unique about Idaho's system. The other thing that you need to learn is quotas. So you'll see quotas listed for each hunt inside Idaho's regulations, and those quotas are the maximum number of licenses that could be given out for a hunt. What you need to understand is if you're a non-residents are only eligible to draw up to 10% of that quota. You are not guaranteed that 10% though, so it is entirely possible for residents to draw the entire quota. Not is something that happens every year, especially in those moose, sheep, and goat hunts where there aren't a lot of licenses and there are a ton of applicants. If it's a hunt with fewer than 10 licenses, non-residents could draw up to 1 license. Okay, the last thing you need to understand for Idaho are choices. You get to select up to 2 choices on your application, a first choice and a second choice. The way the draw is conducted is first choice applications or applicants are considered first as we start to give out quota for a hunt. If we run out of quota before assigning all first choice applicants a license, second choice won't be considered. If there is still quota remaining after first choice applicants are given licenses, we will go into the second choice and continue to give out licenses until the quota is either fully allocated or everybody's second choice has been selected. So those are the things that you need to know for Idaho. Good luck this year in applying.